Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sophisticated Ladies Book Club Review. Our guest of honor is the man, the myth, the legend, Dr. James Parker Griffin, who we affectionately call J. Parker. He is a media mogul, as well as a renowned author and a savant in the field of behavioral science. Welcome, Dr. Parker.
Good morning.
Jay Parker, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, as well as what inspired you to write this book, and what you feel young ladies as well as young men can take away from this book?
Okay, so I am a behavioral scientist by training. I have a doctorate in psychology from the Department of Psychology at Georgia State University. But I've also attended Howard University and West Virginia University and all of the trainings in the area of psychology. But I work in private practice. For a number of years, I was faculty at a medical school and also a school of public health, Morehouse School of Medicine and Emory University's Rollins School of Public Health, Department of Behavioral Sciences and Health Education. So my role in those institutions is as a researcher, and I focus on substance abuse prevention, violence prevention, HIV prevention, and inmate reentry. But the way the book came about is that I'm a member of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity, and back in the day, long before I knew how to write a curriculum, we talked about brotherhood and aspects of making the transition from adolescence to manhood. And so I thought to myself, well, how come there's no manual for, especially a multicultural one, in order to aid that process? And that's how the book came about. And then I start doing some research with it with another source of content for training. And there were females in the group as well as the males, and we always had to kind of like make an adaptation of the male version of the curriculum. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe we should just have a separate source specifically for females, and that's how turning girls into ladies, a multicultural behavioral approach came about.
Wonderful. So you felt that the ladies should have their own.
Yeah, that way, if it's a co-ed type session, then they could have their own books that they could follow along that parallels the male lessons, or they could be separate instructional group workshops or whatever, specifically for gender-based instruction.
So it's setting up young women for success, basically.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So the book starts out talking about introduction to womanhood. We also touched on the topic of preparing ladies to be women who lead, which I think is very important, especially in a day and age where we still have pay disparity when it comes to being in the workforce. And we also have, which I think is important in the beginning of the workbook, is supporting your peers. Networking with other women who are professionals or who are like-minded, I think, is a wonderful way to set women up for success. So if we can turn it over to Rachel, who had these topics. Rachel, you want to go ahead and share what you pulled out of the workbook about these different topics?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you all so much for having me on the panel. I'm so excited. So the first thing that I really pulled is just really understanding what it means to be a mature young woman and what it means to be a less mature young woman. And one of the things that really struck a chord with me with being a mature young woman is being financially responsible. I currently work in financial services, and that's something that I see on a daily basis. I feel like a lot of times when it comes to Black Black and brown young women, they always don't have the resources to really manage their money properly. It's not in the forefront. And so a lot of times we kind of make these stumbling blocks along the way until we kind of sort of maybe we think we got it right. There are some friends, or quote unquote friends, who don't always have your best interest at heart. But I want to also move on to something that I saw is that we actually pulled from my alma mater, Spelman College, which is the code of conduct. But when it comes to sisterhood, is making sure that we uplift one another and making sure that we understand that we are each other's responsibility. You know, a lot of times in the workforce, as being a Black woman, we are the minority of the minority. So a lot of times we have to make sure that we are instilling sisterhood, even when we're not exactly quote unquote sisters. Last but not least, health and fitness. So of course we all know, you know, it's really important to exercise and eat well. One thing that was really, really important is mental health. Mental health is something in the Black community and brown community. One, it has a stigma, and two, it's expensive. We have to really be sure that we have those stress relievers, whether it is exercising, whether it is speaking with someone that we love and trust. A lot of times within the year of 2020, there are more Black and brown therapists, making sure that we really take advantage of those resources.
Dave Parker, do you want to chime in and share anything about those particular sessions?
Well, I think that in the 21st century, it's very important for women to have opportunities that they may have been denied in the past, to promote their leadership, their capabilities, their intellectual prowess, and so on and so forth. And so same gender environment seems like that's a perfect match.
So one of the things that I loved about the book was it's an actual workbook. So you have the opportunity to work through these topics, meaning that there is an example given to you, and then you're asked for your input or your feedback. I like how the workbook expressed that we can't find ourselves in someone else. We have to first define ourselves or know ourselves before we can bring something to the table. And I think as young women, first, we definitely have to establish that baseline as to what is it that makes me me? What are the pros or what are the positive things? And then kind of match those things up with the partner that you're looking for. Another topic I had the opportunity to review was women in mass media. I think this is very crucial, especially in the age of social media and mass media, images and stereotypes and preconceived notions about what it means to be a female or what it means to be a woman. I like to say that, for example, being in the classroom as a former educator, I would make it imperative to share with the young ladies, before you post something on social media, you need to think about, number one, how is this going to affect me now and how is this going to affect me in the future? And I also shared with them that everything you see on social media is not real life, okay? We see a 20-minute or 20-second snippet of someone about their life and how wonderful and how glamorous it is. But in actuality, people work for a living. You know, they get up and they have to actually either go to work or they have to, they have to set their day up to be successful. So I try to tell them that what you see on television is produced by someone or is made by a content creator, and it's not always real life. It can keep you involved in what's going on in issues and topics, but we need to be able to distinguish that line. So I did like how the book kind of highlighted what's real versus what's not real. You know, that Hollywood glitz and glamour versus what daily life is like. The other topic I had the opportunity to get into was how to handle people who treat you unfairly. I always say this. When someone comes at you and you might feel slighted, take a moment to step back, and it was also discussed in the book. First, think about, is it really worth it? Does it take my time and energy to address every person who I feel I might be slighted by? Also, the way that I respond, is this something that at the end of the day I will be able to defend? The reason why I went off on this person is because, and it can't just be, or I had time today. You know, you have to really think, and the book touch bases on it, you really have to think, okay, maybe this person's having a bad day, or maybe this just doesn't need my attention. Now, in the event where you feel that you are being personally attacked or your character is being, you have every right to defend yourself and educate that person, let that person know that they have crossed the line, or the way that they have that they made, or whatever the interaction might have been. You have the opportunity to defend yourself and explain to them. Now, sometimes people will step back and they'll digest it and they'll understand, and they just won't, because they already have that preconceived notion in their head. And then finally, how to deal with authorities. I think this is very important, as, let's say, for example, in a school setting, the teacher, that is the authority in the classroom. Give us the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I will say that as a mother, as a parent, sometimes you just don't have the tools. And if you are not in that constant search, it's really hard to actually find the right information. That's what I love about the book, because sometimes I read a lot. And yes, you read a lot about like how to be a parent, but you don't really have like exercises like you have in this book, that you can actually just sit down and say, okay, today this is what I'm going to teach my kid, or this is what I need my kid to learn. But finally I have like exercises that I can sit down and see the progress. I practiced 2 of the exercises, and it was amazing to see how you can, just with simple programming on your kid's brain, change behavior, or just make something that make them switch and understand you better, or connect with them. One of the exercises was about self-esteem and how they can learn how to love themselves. And it was amazing to see my kid, from frustration for being at home during the COVID-19, to be thankful for actually the things that she has right now, but also how to find who she is, and so many amazing things that she is, but she hasn't even like sit down and have the time to think about it. And me either. Like I have been trying to put her in like internet courses and trying to push her, but that's not what she needs. What she needs is probably the right tool to learn how to love themselves, how to respect herself, how to actually deal with conflicts. It's one exercises that she actually can sit down and think about, like, okay, this is a problem that I'm facing right now. How can I learn to face it? And I realized that I haven't taught my kid how to actually handle problems correctly. And with some small things that you can do, like the things in the book, that it's so easy and it's just right there, but you just don't do it as a parent. And it has been amazing to have the opportunity to see not just the improvement on my kid, but how she's just generally more happy with herself. And that just make everything easier at home, because now she's happy, so everybody's happy because she's happy. Yeah, so it's no conflicts, and the fact that she actually, when she wants to express something, she actually say it like properly, or take the time to think like, this is what I'm feeling, this is how I learn how to manage conflicts, and now I have the tools to do it. Because before probably she wants to, because she deserves better, or she doesn't want to fight with her parents, but she didn't know how to do it. And I was frustrated in the other side, because I didn't know how to teach her what to say. So yeah, I really encourage parents to take the time to do practice, or to practice the exercises in the book. And believe me, you will see the results in like 2 days, because they are learning and they are just like trying to catch all the information. And sometimes you don't need to even explain to them that it's exercises in a book. You just need to like sit down and say, like, oh, just do this just for fun, and they will do it, and you will see the results. So just teach them how to love themselves, how to handle problems. It's really, really important. And the things about social media, the same thing. It's like, probably for me it was easier to say, no, I'm just gonna take your phone away, you are not gonna use social media. But now I realize that probably it's easier to explain, manage herself so she can grow and learn more and more and more and learn how to use social media in a productive way instead that me is like, no, that's just bad and you can't use it. So it was a really learning experience. Wow. Like, as I say, I was always want to help my kid. But the thing is that if you don't know how, you are in the same place. So having something that, or a book or a reference that you can go and find exercises and find answers and put actually all the exercises that I saw that I said, like, I have a friend that this happened to her. What do you think? Instead of telling her it was an exercise, and it's amazing to see the results of what she say. But I also have the tools to tell her like, oh, this is the right things to do, because I see like how she changed and now she's working in projects that it's making her happy, and everything in the house is like so peaceful.
That Kat covered it, since she has a teenager who is kind of getting to that point where she's building those relationships. That might end up being lifelong relationships with friends, and also preventing violence and managing conflict. So, Kat, if you want to take us through that part in spirituality, and I think you also had fast money versus honest money, which is really interesting. I like that topic as well, and becoming a mature, well-rounded lady. So we'll go ahead and hand it off to you.
Okay. So the first one about like how to avoid violence. Like, as I said, sometimes they don't know, so they just react how they think is correctly, or what they have seen in TV, or what they are influenced by social media. So just having the tools to see like, okay, if somebody is attacking me, or I feel like I'm like worried about myself, this is how I can handle it, or what I back up, think about it, or actually look for help. And that's one of the things that it hit me the most, is like how you teach your kid that when they are in these cases, they need to look for help. And that's something that is there like, okay, this is how I need to do and what I need to like teach myself, or what they kids need to teach themselves, so they can learn how to avoid those places, or avoid these people, or just back up, because probably sometimes it's your friend, or a family member. So just to have the tools to know what to do in that moment, or actually identify that person, it helps a lot. And as a parent, it gives you a little peace of mind, because you see, at least now I'm giving them the tools to do something about it. I'm not just telling them like, just be careful. That they have the tools to like do something about it in the moment that they need it. And the fast money, I put my teen approved, and yes, it's amazing the mindset that they have right now, where it's just like, okay, like, I'm just gonna go on social media and be rich. They don't realize it, and they try hard to move from that path or from that life. In the back of their mind, that's what they see every single day. So they think it's actually cool to make money easy, because they don't see and they don't understand the value of the process. So when you teach them like here, like, okay, this is the value of the process, and this is the value of how good you're gonna feel when you know you are making money in the right way, when you know you are doing the right thing, and become on the same of like teach them how to love themselves. Because first in the book, it's like, I like how it goes, like they need to learn this so they can move to the next one. And once you teach them how to love themselves, it's easier actually to make them understand how bad is just to do whatever it takes for money. So,
yeah. That's a good point, Catherine. I know a lot of young people now, they aspire to be YouTube stars. I know growing up, that wasn't a thing. And they think like, I'm going to do makeup on YouTube and be a millionaire, but that's literally 1 in a million. Yes, it is a option, but I'm a firm believer that you should have a backup plan.
Yeah, and not just a backup plan, just have the decision to make and say, I know it's money, and I'm not gonna take it because I know it's not right to do it. And as a parent, knowing that that's what you are teaching your kid, it gives you a peace of mind of like, I know when she is out of home or when she is with her friends, she's gonna do the right decision because she knows about it and she knows what is going on. But if you never teach them, or you never, as a parent, we want the best for our kids, and it's always like protecting them, like giving them the tools to go and do what they have to do. And I think that's what this whole book is about. It's about to give them the tools that they need so they can do it themselves. But you are there as a backup, and I'm your backup plan. If you try and it didn't work, I'm here because I'm your parent. But at least you have the peace of mind that you know your kid is gonna be okay. And with the fast money, I start asking my team questions. And even though she have a really good personality and she understands that easy money is not good, she's influenced by all these people every single day. So in one point, she thinks it's cool to make money with YouTube videos. But when she understood that easy money, it's not good, it's not the right thing to do, because you need to do what you believe and what you are and who you are. It's better than just go and do something that you don't want just for money. That's different. So yes, it's amazing how you need to learn how to manage social media, but you need to learn how to love yourself. And now you're gonna learn, when you go to the real world and you go those offers, you're gonna know what you need to do or how you need to answer that people. So basically you are protecting your kid of going in life knowing nothing, because in a school, yeah, it's amazing that they learn science and reading and all that type of thing, but this is a tool. These are the tools that they need to go and deal with the real world. And as a parent, we don't worry about that. We just like, okay, just bring me an A in your report card and that will be fine. And no, this is what they need, because this is the real world. This is where they are going and where you want them to be successful. And just teaching them like, hey, you can say no if something it's not going with yourself, with your belief, because money is not everything. So yeah, it was
Agreed.
a good tool for the kids to have. Yeah,
I agree. And just to piggyback, another section that was covered was preventing violence and conflict and how to select real. I like how the book is set up, where it's not just preaching to the child, it's actually getting them involved and having them put themselves into the situation with the different scenarios, and having them kind of navigate through the situation as to how they would handle it. And I think that kind of helps kind of draw them in and keep them engaged, as opposed to just reading, okay, this is what you do. This is what you're expected to do. But it kind of makes them part of their story of learning. And also to touch on the not all good money or fast money is big money, I think that this was also has a way of romanticizing, the thug life, or, fast money and buying cars and, making it rain and so forth. But as you said, if you're giving them the tools and those coping mechanisms, that they can make the decisions that, wait a minute, maybe I don't need to be doing this because, it's putting money in my pocket, but at the same time, what am I losing in the process? Am I losing my family? Am I losing my dignity? Am I losing my success? So that's something that I did like about the book, is that it kind of an opportunity to make before they go out into the real world.
Yep. And that's the 15 that is like home mature. It's like, because now I have the baby, my daughter tries to be like a baby too, right? But just this, I had the opportunity to sit down and say, like, it's okay to grow up. Don't be afraid. This is what you need to do, and you're gonna be okay. So the last part is, as I said, the book is just perfect, like step by step. And the last one where you teach them, like, it's okay to be mature, but this is the way that you need to do it so you can be okay. So yeah, that was like the whole part where you take your kid and you say, like, now you're ready, you need to start trying. but this is the way that you have to do it. So I hope my daughter get all this information, and I see the results. But now also the thing, like how she's been acting for months, trying to be that kid, just trying to stay as a kid, and now she feels more secure that because she knows what is coming and she knows how to do it, she feels more secure to, she's more okay with herself to grow up. Like I feel confident enough. I know what to do, so now I want to grow up. So yeah, it's really interesting how they think or how many problems is in their mind, and just with small things like these exercises, you can just change their mind or treat what they need exactly to move on.
Awesome. Jay Parker, one of the things that I liked looking over was it shows the progression of how you have a baby girl inside of a woman's body, and then you have her progressing into this well-balanced grown woman. If we were to ask you, what are 3 things that are necessary for that progression to take place? Can you share that with us?
Probably I would have to say one of the key things is learning how to engage in self-reflection, so that as you compare your behavior, the self-love kinds of things you've been talking about, and some of the other things that are recommended, you stand up in relation to the standards that are set forth in the book. So there's that. And then being able to take stock of the actual expression of it, the behaviors that you're engaging in. Once you realize where you are, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm like this, and so what do I need to do to fulfill it? The other part of it is what kinds of things do I need to draw on in my environment in order to get the exposure that I need in order to move myself to the next phase. That's about the different means of exposure, such as cultural influence, reading, world travel, exposing yourself to mentors who can help you to grow, and so on and so forth. But I think it requires or suggests that you have at least mentor, so if one of them is not exactly working in your interest in a way that you feel is productive, you can always go on to the other one. So the idea is for you to learn how to understand what's necessary for growth and development. And part of that has to do with being able to observe other people in order to pattern themselves after role models.
Yeah, I think representation is very important. You see someone that you want to. I know that this is definitely an awesome tool when they get to the age where they start recognizing, as Jessica said, when they can self-reflect. And I think they can do that as young as like 3 or 4. They're aware of themselves and how, they are part of this world. But I love the message in here of first loving yourself, and then kind of working your way through the other positive things that you can do to help build yourself into that successful young lady. And overall, I think it's just a great tool. It even makes me step back and kind of think, okay, in this scenario, what would I do if you give them the tools to say, hey, this I can relate to this because this is a real world example. There was like a couple of examples in there about the record company and the artist, and having the authority to say, okay, this is what I think is something positive that we can put out in terms of music versus something that is not so positive.
Yeah, another thing that I took away from the book is just, it kind of reminds me of a song that came out like in the early 2000s. It says, I'm not a girl, but not yet a woman. So that's just a really interesting place to really be in, because I know Catherine was saying that she has a teenager and she's kind of hesitant to like grow up, and it's scary. Being an adult is scary. So I definitely do sympathize with the young ladies. But as long as we have those motivating role models to say like, hey, go forward, but we'll always be here, if you need to like turn back and just ask questions. So I think this is an excellent resource that really fills in the gaps of our education system.
Well, every parent need these tools. Whatever you have tried before, if it doesn't work, this work. It was really amazing. Just try it on my daughter and see the results, and just see her trying to love herself and accept herself. So one of the things that I picked from the book, and it's the best thing, is like, sometimes as a parent, we need to be humble enough to know that we don't have the resources, and just go and search for them and practice them, and just do it. And just take your time to read the book and actually do the exercises. It's the small things that you do that it's gonna change probably your kid's life forever. Because if you teach them how to love themselves, how to protect themselves, how to grow, how to manage money, and how to make right decisions, and actually how to be more conscious of who you are, they're gonna be okay. And that peace of mind, it's really good to have as a parent. And it's a process, but if you are there as a backup, they are gonna get back to you, because actually you teach them to look for help. You teach them what to do, and now they are not afraid to grow up, because they know it's gonna be okay. So yeah, it has been really amazing. I'm gonna keep trying everything, at least until she is 18, and we will see. It has been amazing, just reading the book and just practicing with my daughter. It's like, okay, I have this, but I can try. It works. Okay, let's just move to the next one. So it has been really, really amazing experience. Thank you so much for sharing the book and your knowledge.
I would like to make a comment about my experience as a parent, and sharing some lessons with my kids. And one of the things that we talk about in the book is a definition that originally came from Joseph Marshall on the West Coast in the Oakland area. It's called street soldiers. And it's a definition of a friend. His definition is a friend will never lead you to danger. So we added to it, or I added to it, a friend will never lead you to danger or interfere with your success. So we talk about who are the people in your life that definition, and which part of it do they rise to the occasion. So I use it as a supplement to in therapy. And you were talking about kids being afraid to grow up and so on. It's the phase of uncertainty when they're part. And they could have a lot of skills, but still, it's like, how does all of this fit with the trajectory for my life? And so I have to provide them with some skill sets in terms of how to think about it. They're not catastrophizing about the future and engaging in a paralyzed state of anxiety. Close down to, because I know I experienced that myself when I was 21. And I was like, what am I going to do, and how am I going to do it, and get a degree, and then what?
Yes.
So I just wanted to point that part out as far as what it's intended to accomplish.
I think that we'll be, as Catherine said, be able to use it in real life with our girls. And also there was a definition in there that mother is not just a biological mother. Some of us are mentors to other young ladies. So, we're that informal mom. So this is a tool that I feel that we can share with them as well. So it was a pleasure talking about turning girls into ladies, a multicultural behavioral approach. Thank you guys again, and thank you everyone out there for tuning in to Sophisticated Ladies Book Club Review. We'll see you next time.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Great day.